Today we're going to talk about HDV ETF and why now is the time to own this investment. First, we're going to take a look at the long-term pattern of the stock market. The stock market has a very easy to identify pattern over the long term, and there are periods where growth investing is leading and then periods where value investing is leading. Knowing where you're at in the cycle can help improve your returns and your success as an investor. HDV is a value-oriented investment. So you want to own this investment when value is going to be leading the way. And I think we're at that position now. Then we're going to take a look at HDV fundamentals because they're very compelling. Here's the long-term view of the S&P 500, and you can clearly see the pattern. Bull markets, the green arrows, eventually end and turn into bear markets that eventually end and turn into bull markets, so on and so forth. Presently, in 2024, we are late stage bull market. Knowing where you're at in the cycle can really help with your long-term success. During bull markets, growth investments tend to outperform. During bear markets, value investments like HDV tend to outperform. Here's an illustration to demonstrate the performance gap between growth and value investing during a bull market. This is the 1990s bull market, which was a good time period for growth investments. Here we're making a $100,000 investment in the S&P 500, our growth investment, and $100,000 in the Russell 1000 value index. At the end of the decade, the S&P 500, these are total return illustrations, was about 25% ahead of the Russell 1000 value index. Clearly, growth does well in a bull market, but everything changes when we enter a bear market and have recessions to contend with. This is the first decade of the 2000s. $100,000 investment in S&P 500, our growth investment, and $100,000 investment in the Russell 1000 value index. After 10 plus years, the S&P 500, and these are total return illustrations, was at a standstill, no return. The Russell 1000 value index, however, was up 37%, significant outperformance of value over growth in the first decade of the 2000s during a bear market and two recessions. Recessions are the gray bands on this chart. So now we can see when value is working and when growth is working with respect to the stock market cycle, the big picture. We want to own growth investments during the bull markets or have a heavier weighting to growth during bull markets, and we want to have a heavier weighting to value during bear markets. We've been in a bull market for a long time. The Fed is talking about lowering interest rates. Historically, when the Fed lowers interest rates, you're about to be or are already in a recession. I have videos about this. I'd encourage you to watch my other videos. The likelihood of a recession in 2024 or 2025, very high. So now is a good time to be looking at investments like HDV. HDV has very compelling fundamentals when compared to SPY ETF, the S&P 500, for instance. Let's take a look at that. HDV provides 260% more passive income, the dividend yield, when compared to SPY, the S&P 500. HDV pays 3.25%, SPY pays 1.22%. HDV is over 30% cheaper than SPY when you consider price to earnings at 18 versus 27 and price to book of 3 versus 5. And finally, HDV is a little bit cheaper than SPY in terms of expense ratio. HDV's expense ratio is 0.08 while SPY is 0.09. Here's one more reason why I like HDV now. If you were to buy HDV today and hold it for the next 10 years, that 3.25% dividend yield really adds up and it gives you a great margin of safety. Over the next 10 years, you could expect to receive 1/3 of your initial investment back in the form of passive income, the dividends. That gives you just a tremendous buffer. Compare that to the S&P 500 with a measly 1.22% dividend yield. You don't have nearly as much protection there, especially if we're entering a recessionary period and going to see a slowdown in growth. Now, I encourage you to do your own due diligence, Consult with your financial advisor to see if this investment is right for you. Like any stock market investment, you can definitely lose money. But if we are going to enter a period where value investing is going to be leading the way, this is a great value investment. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gets you thinking, helps you better analyze your investments, and overall improve your family's financial plan.